so this is a weird view, but trying to get centered here. Okay, so welcome back to Gleanings in Genesis, and this is day 25. Wow, I'm trying to figure out how do I get this set up so y'all don't fall down, but you can see what I'm doing. I just have a floating head. Maybe I can raise myself up on my This is great. Anyways, how are you guys doing? This is take 3. So I got Buddy meeting me here shortly, so let's just tell him and wait for you guys to tune in. Just gonna see how your guys' day and week is going so far. I'm excited because I feel like I finally have some positive momentum back in my life, and it has taken a minute, but I feel like I'm getting organization reinstilled into where I'm at. So let's kind of see what happens and go from there. But anyways, this is part of the structure that I feel like God has intended for me personally to have. So I feel like he pushes different things or allows different things and promotes them. But it's just if we choose to go through the door, right? Maybe that's not a popular idea. I don't know, but I feel like that's the theme in my life, and I feel like the more that I kind of dig into what God has for me. Oh, and now I'm hooked up to the stereo. Hear myself in surround sound real quick. But, and the internet's not great. So anyways, before I get too far off on a tangent of just those things, I'm gonna have to get into that later. But let's see why my internet is not working while we're waiting for people. I wonder if I could just cut this part out, because I feel bad. I'm on my other Wi-Fi when I'm sitting here at the coffee shop, but I don't know what's going on with that. So maybe, just maybe, that's not important. So let's just give it a shot and see. All right, there it is. So maybe just this normally gets everything going well once I can verify that the chat works. It works. All right. Well, we're 3 minutes in, and I haven't said anything of super amazing substance yet, but let's start. So this is called In the Gleanings of Genesis. This is chapter 37, and it talks about Joseph's dreams of greatness. It says, now Jacob dwelt in the land where his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. This is the history of Jacob. Jacob, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah and his father's wives, and Joseph brought a bad report of them to his father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all of his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a tunic of many colors. But when his brothers saw that the father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably of him or to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. So he said to them, please hear this dream which I have dreamed. There we were binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheaf arose and also stood upright, and indeed your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf. And his brothers said to him, shall you indeed reign over us, or shall you indeed have dominion over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. Then he dreamed still another dream and told it to his brothers and said, look, I have dreamed another dream. And this time the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to me. That'd be pretty intense, but kind of cool. So it says, he told it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall your mother and I and your brothers indeed come to bow down on this earth, or to the earth before you?" And his brothers envied him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Joseph sold by his brothers. Then his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are you not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." So he said to him, "Here I am." Then he said to him, "Please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the flocks, and bring back word to me." So he sent him out to the valley of Hebron and went to Shechem. Now a certain man found him, and there he was, wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What are you seeking?" So he said, "I am seeking my brothers. Please tell me where they are feeding their flocks." And the man said, "They have departed from here, for I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. Now, when they saw him afar off, even before he came near them, they conspired against him to kill him. When they said to one another, "Look, this dreamer is coming. Come, therefore, let us now kill him and cast him into some pit, and we shall say, 'Some wild beast has devoured him.' We shall see what will become of his dreams." It's kind of wild. Never did you think you'd get cast into a pit just to test out your dreams. But a lot of people can be jealous of your dreams. It's like it arouses a jealousy and an envy in them. But Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, "Let us not kill him." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, that he might deliver him out of the hands and bring him back to his father." Sorry, I think I need to respond to this text right quick. It's interesting because maybe it doesn't register. It's weird. I'm actually watching this on my channel, but it doesn't want to register that I'm watching it. YouTube, are you shadow banning me? I've heard that this is a thing. This is what happens when you speak truth on the line. But anyways, we're not throwing him in the pit now, says Reuben. So it came to pass, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his tunic, the tunic of many colors that was on him. Then they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal. Then they lifted their eyes and looked, and there was a company of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices, balm, and myrrh, on their way to carry them down to Egypt. So Judah said to his brothers, "What profit is there if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him. For he is our brother and our flesh." And his brothers listened. Then Midianite traders passed by. So the brothers pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And they took Joseph to Egypt. It's kind of wild. So nothing like selling your brother to a bunch of traders. I've thought about it. Just kidding. My brothers are pretty rowdy. I'd have to have my other brothers to do that to the other brothers. Otherwise, it'd be a brawl. But yeah. But I would expect nothing less if I was throwing them in a pit. I will throw them in the pool, but not in the pit. Then Reuben returned to the pit, and indeed Joseph was not in the pit. And he tore his clothes and returned to his brothers and said, "The lad is no more, and where shall I go?" So they took Joseph's tunic, killed a kid of the goats and dipped the tunic in the blood. Then they sent the tunic of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, "We have found this. Do you know whether it is your son's tunic or not?" And he recognized it and said, "It is my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him." Without doubt, Jacob is torn to pieces. Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son many days. And his sons and all of his daughters arose to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted. And he said, "For I shall go down into the grave to my son in mourning." Thus his father wept for him. Now the Midianites had sold him in Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, and the captain of the guard. The captain of the guard. I actually really enjoy this story because of everything that transpires next around it. So let's save our place that I just lost, but I know where we're at. So let's put this in here. There's 2. And let's see what the devotional has to say. Day 25. Let's go. 25. Genesis 37. Oh, I clicked on the Bible verse. So the devotional says, I'm going to actually ask my buddy when he gets here because he has many sons, and I would be curious what he would think about giving one of his sons a gift like that and how it might impact the overall the morale of the other siblings. But this talks about seeing the hand of God in the pits of life. Are you living in a pit? Do you feel like Joseph in Genesis 37? Due to his brother's sin, he was literally in a pit. Maybe you have been wounded by someone else's sin, and you are probably wondering, where is God in all of this? If God is all-powerful and loving, why is he allowing this terrible sin against me? If he is in control, why do wicked men literally get away with murder? That's a great question. I think that this is a great time to wonder about what's going on in our political environment. It looks like politicians very rarely have much accountability. I'm sure I'm not the only person frustrated or aggravated by that fact, and the question is why. So what's God's intent? And I think that I can answer that because I know that he gave us free will. And he's not the God of giving something and taking it back. He's just not. So even with Satan, he gave Satan free will. Free will still exists for Satan, right? But he still is going to stand by his word. So he's a God of character. If he's in control, why do wicked men get away with murder? If God is sovereign, why am I in the pits? Joseph could have asked that question. Joseph must have had this question of why. He's thrown into a pit, but he's never not told why by God. Yet, sorry, we're waiting for my buddy. That's his truck right there. We'll see if he hops in here. But he's thrown in a pit, but yet he's never not told why by God. Yet he never complained. Joseph was told that he was going to rule over his family twice in the dreams given by God. Now he has been thrown into a pit and then sold into Egyptian slavery. The message of God seems impossible to happen. The scriptures tell us that he did not understand it. Listening to the words of the psalmist concerning Joseph, who was sold as a slave, his feet were hurt with fetters, his neck was put into a collar of iron, until what he had said came to pass. The word of the Lord kept testing him. Joseph does not know how God is working these things out, but he continues to trust God. I think that's so cool because we, in our human comprehension, we always want to know what is God doing, right? We want to know like right now, within 5 minutes. But it's like if you remember that this story took many years to unfold, just like many of the other stories in the Bible. I mean, there's thousands of years that in this book, right? I have to call my neighbor back. That one's probably important. Um, Joseph does not know how God is working these things out, but he continues to trust God, and that's exactly what we have to do. Isn't that like the whole story? Every single day is like an act of faith, and I think that the more that you lean into God, the more that you end up in God's will and His best interests for our lives, right? Um, so it turns out that it says I was going to say something else that was tying into that, but the interesting thing about Genesis 37 is that there is no mention of God at all in this chapter. It's almost as if there is total silence from Him. But we see how God is at work. God intervenes in the wicked plans of the brothers. Rather than killing Joseph as they intended, they throw him into a pit. God used the evil deeds. Oh, hold up. Hey, buddy. He went inside. He didn't hear my truck running. But God used the evil deeds of his brothers to begin fulfilling his plan as revealed in Joseph's dreams. Kind of wild, right? Because he believes in being fruitful, and we believe in being fruitful. And look at the seeds that he was planting in his dreams, even, right? So my question is, does God plant dreams in your dreams? You want to hop in? I got some questions for you. All right. He's staying out of the film. But it was not coincidence that Joseph ended up in the home of Potiphar. God was orchestrating his eternal and divine purposes for the preservation and deliverance of the people of Israel. God took Joseph to Egypt to make him a great nation. He took him there to make him a great nation. So literally had to not pretend. He thought his brothers were going to murder him because they were jealous. He ends up in a pit, and then he's getting turned into a great nation. But it would be 23 years of nightmare before Joseph's dream and God's ultimate plan for his life. Sorry, we can move that. Just on the tail end of doing my Bible study. Come on. This is Genesis 37, talking about Joseph in the Technicolor coat.
The Technicolor coat?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Techno. So you have many sons. How would they feel if you picked one of them as a favorite by giving a really exorbitant gift to one of them?
Bad. Not good.
Yeah. That explains kind of why there was plotting against him to throw him into a pit.
I think they might do that. They get pretty mad when I take one hunting.
Yeah.
And that's not even choosing a favorite.
No. They're all your favorite for different reasons, right? So this talks about it's 23 years of nightmares before Joseph's dreams and God's ultimate plan for his life finally come to pass. 23 years. That's wild. So I'm not going to take up too much time, but I am almost done. So, not everything in life is about us. Get the bigger picture and see things through the eyes of God. Then we would understand that everything is about God, even though we want to make it about us. I love to make it about me. I do, but it's not. When you are in the pit, you may feel lonely and have doubts and have a tendency to question God and ask for explanations. Rather than asking God for an explanation, ask Him for His revelation. In the pit, ask God to show Himself in His power and greatness. Look at your pit experience as a privilege. see God's unseen hand as preparation for the palace. So the application question for us today is, Joseph had a very rough adventure with God, yet Joseph trusted without bitterness. What rough spot in your life must you give to God and trust Him completely?
All of them.
Yeah, right, because they're all definitely, and it's like, man, I try to be specific, but it's like there's so many, right? But it's typically the specific things that I see that I lack resolution in. So like when we keep talking about this professional business, like what I said the other day, it's like it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. You could be in a pit, and next thing you could be like leading this nation.
I hope not.
God has big plans, bro. God has big plans.
Whatever He wants, I guess.
Yeah, and see, but I always I say that it's the person that has that mindset that would probably be best for the job. So I'm sorry to burden that blessing. It's called the backside of the blessing.
I'm good. You gotta put yourself out there for it to happen, right?
Right. No, you don't. No, you
You
can quite literally get a really nice jacket and being thrown into a pit, and then you're sold into slavery.
That's fair.
Yeah. So you don't have a choice, but you have free will. So like God knows how He can probably get you there, but
If you're willing.
if you're willing. So the quote is, God's hand never slips. He never makes a mistake. His every move is for our own good and for ultimate good. That's by Billy Graham. So today the prayer is, Lord, help me to never think that you are not aware of what I'm going through in life, but help me to see your unseen hand in guiding my life. Amen. So, do you want to pray for anything? No? I'm going to take just a minute. Throw this prayer up, because I know that they work. Words are powerful. So, dear God, I just pray for you to just be present in our lives, just be present with my buddy here, and just continue to work through us and all the weird things that we get involved in, and just continue to pour out your blessings on our lives and into other people's lives, as us hopefully being obedient to your will. And God, even the things that we need to continue to work on, just allow those struggles to just fall to the wayside of things that are just not important in our lives, unless they serve you and glorify you. But we just ask for your peace, prosperity, joy. I pray a special prayer of your protection over our children. Keep them safe. Actually, keep all the kids safe in school as they're back in there. And I just pray for the upcoming season of a potential change in leadership in this nation, that we have somebody that will honor you and serve you and your people as best as they can. So, in your name, amen. Thank you guys for joining me. I will talk to you later. Bye.